All right, on with the show. By the end of this month, we'll have a new Deputy Prime Minister because the allotted time for the switchover from Winston Peters to Leader of New Zealand Affairs to David Seymour, Leader of ACT, will come to time. And I quite like the way that David Seymour is easing into this role by suggesting that he thinks a whole lot of people around the cabinet table might need to go. He's come out and said we may have too many ministers. And as part of what appears like a channeling of the Doge of Elon Musk, he has raised the issue of efficiency. Who does he think should go? And is this winning him friends and influencing people around the cabinet table? We are joined now live by David Seymour. How are you?
I'm very, very well, thanks, Sean.
All right. Is this specific, we've got too many ministers, about specific ministers or ministries or what?
No, I think it's about the frustration that a lot of people have. I would say most people I talk to say, you guys are doing good and you're doing a lot better than the other guys who truly scare us. But is this really the fastest the boat can go? And why are so many people getting on the boat and leaving the country? And I think one of the answers to that, and this is not really a criticism of the current government, this is more just
well, you're part of it. That would be silly, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's also that what I'm criticising didn't start in this government. It didn't start under Jacinda Ardern. It didn't start under John Key or even Helen Clark. We have gone from in the 80s having 18 ministers around the cabinet table to 28 ministers, a couple of undersecretaries, 30 people in total. We've also got up to 41 government departments. And then we've got something called a portfolio. So you can be, for example, the Minister for Auckland, a position that was created for Michael Wood. But that doesn't actually connect to any department. There is no Auckland department.
What about the Minister for the South Island?
Well, you could make the same argument about that.
We've got him on later. Are you telling James that his ministry's BS?
Well, my point is that there's not actually a ministry, so I'm sure he will say, well, I'm here to advocate for the South Island generally, and he's welcome to say that. But I just make the point that, just like Jacinda Ardern's Child Poverty Reduction Minister, she created that portfolio for herself, there is no budget for child poverty reduction. There is no department that does that. My point is that, okay, people want us to go faster, people want more responsive, quicker results. I think one of the things that might help is if we said, right, we're going to have no department with more than one minister. Right now the Ministry for Business, Innovation and Enterprise has 19 different ministers. The Department of Internal Affairs has 7 different ministers. So you say, well, every department has one minister. The buck stops with them. But then I'd say every portfolio has to be an actual government department with a vote that you're responsible for delivering results for. And then I'd say we shouldn't have any ministers outside of cabinet. We should only have ministers that are actually at the table. At the moment, we've got 8 who, good people. Some of them are ACT ministers. They're doing a good job. But I feel it would be better if everyone was sitting around the same table rather than having 8 outside cabinet. And if you did all of that, I'm not picking on any particular person, but I'm just saying if we move to a world where the job of a minister is to be responsible for getting results from a department and they're the only minister that department's accountable for, I just think we'd get quicker, faster results, more efficiency, and everyone would be a little bit happier.
All right. Let's use the South Island minister as an example. It's just the kind of PR move, isn't it? Really? It's just a little bauble you can hand out to your caucus members. And I would say, my understanding has always been that actually the size of the number of ministers in cabinet has always been calculated by the Prime Minister or the ruling party of the day. How many people do you need to have beholding to you by giving them a plush job so that you maintain control of the party inside Parliament? That brutally, it's just a power sharing arrangement, or it's all political graft, isn't it?
Well, it may be, but if you look around the world...
No, it may be. That's what it's always been. You always
Well,
have enough
okay,
ministers and undersecretaries that give you a majority in caucus, and because you can then take away that privilege from them, if you're the Prime Minister, it gives you control of your caucus.
Yeah, but they don't have a majority now. No party does. I mean, New Zealand First, I think, have 3 ministers, maybe 4 ministers out of 8. ACT has, I think, 5 ministers out of 11. The National Party must have about, well, whatever, if we've got 30 in total, about 18 out of, 49 MPs I think they've got. So they don't have a majority now. And in other countries, they have typically bigger parliaments. Australia has 150, Canada has 300.
Yeah.
But the number of ministers they have is nowhere near that much bigger.
Okay. How would you implement such a change? Would you introduce because each new government is master of its own destiny in the way it runs?
Well, here's what it might look like.
Yeah.
I mean, we're signed up to the current government. We're doing it the way every previous government has. People can say, oh, you're a hypocrite. Well, I just say, if that's true, then nobody who's in government can suggest anything different because you're a hypocrite to suggest a change. Well, we're suggesting a change. And what it would look like is, let's say that, things go well and the people decide that they want us back and they want ACT to be a big part of the next government. One of the things we might sit down and say is, look, we're prepared to take less positions ourselves if you are too, because we think that all of us will get more done and be able to deliver better for the people. And who knows, they might just go for that. We might just insist on it, who knows. But, we might then say, okay, we're going to change the Constitution Act. You could do that. ACT had a bill to do exactly that back in about 2018. It was one of my members' bills back in the day. Or you might say we're going to change the Cabinet Manual to enforce some of these rules, such as, only 1 minister per department and no ministers without a department.
Yeah.
I think if we did that, we'd be in a much better place.
All right. Do you reckon you can do that before the next election?
Well, I don't think it'll change before the next election. I mean, it's up to Chris, as you say, the Prime Minister appoints the Cabinet. I don't think he'll change it. He's already said he doesn't want to. But that's okay. We've got to actually have some new ideas because it's not enough just to constantly fight the last war and deliver on the issues of the 2023 election. I feel we can point to having done a pretty good job of that. The question is, still too many people leaving. Votes probably not going fast enough. How do we switch that around?
All right. Look, just a couple of other issues while I've got you there. Oh, the shock horror probe of Erica Stanford sending emails to her own private email address so she could print stuff off. You would have thought this was Watergate in New Zealand from the press conference I went to yesterday. Are you deeply concerned that there's possible corruption, David?
No, I mean, I can imagine Erica Stanford. She's got a million things on. There's papers she's got to read. She's got to make decisions. She's got to send the papers back to the officials. She likes reading it on paper. She gets to her office. It's not set up the right way to do a print off her parliamentary laptop. She forwards it to her Gmail so she can print it. I mean, I don't know exactly the details, but I can imagine all that happening. And my question is, of all the problems going on in New Zealand, why? Who is that hurting? Why are they worried about it? Now, I understand that it was one of the main stories on One News last night.
It was the lead story. I went to a press conference yesterday.
It was the lead story.
I went, and it was the only thing the journalists wanted to talk about in the press conference. Not the Maori Party not having audited returns for its campaign donations. No, not interested in that. Erica Stanford had sent herself an email.
Well,